Hi there people, Chilli here, and welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Reviews. And oh boy, are we going left field on my taste in music here. This episode is about the J-pop musician Utada Hikaru and the latest album, Bad Mode. But first, a brief history lesson. For those outside the know, Utada Hikaru is a Japanese pop star and has been on the scene for nearly 25 years, making a break with the early albums First Love and Distance. And if I had a vest full of metal bands, it would include this beautiful artist. No joke. Just slap a big old Distance cover next to the good old Snaggletooth. Her musical influences have a rather eclectic range, including, but not limited to, Freddie Mercury, Nine Inch Nails, Edith Piaf, and the Scottish synth pop group Blue Nile. Now, if you got excited and thought the music is going to sound like a dark electronic Japanese pop mix, then you would be mostly let down. No, her early sound is mostly reminiscent of Mary J. Blige and Mariah Carey, and a few other pop stars in the mix. But there is a surprise to her musical elements that doesn't cement her sound to the polished pop sound we may know. Most Westerners, or weeaboos, would likely know her music from the anime Evangelion and the cover of Fly Me to the Moon, or from the game Kingdom Hearts for the theme song. And I must level with you, my Chilli con Carnage crew, that's where I found out about Utada Hikaru's music. Like this video if that's how you heard Utada Hikaru's music. The songs Passion and Simple and Clean were used in the first game of Kingdom Hearts, and Utada has been making music for the game ever since. Now this is a good segue into the latest album, Bad Mode, because unlike most of my episodes, I am not doing a song by song analysis. No, most of these tracks have Japanese titles or are sung predominantly in Japanese, and my Japanese is limited to words like and luckily for those who share my vocabulary skills in the Japanese language, this album isn't entirely in Japanese, and is in fact Utada Hikaru's first bilingual album. On top of this tidbit of information, the album was also released to coincide with Utada's birthday. So Tanjo Bio Medo fucking hell. Tanjo Bio Medito. So Tanjo Bio Medito, or Happy Birthday from Live Listen Erased. That's right, you heard it here on Live Listen Erased first, not on Wikipedia. It is a birthday album, and certain tracks are sung both in Japanese and English, while other tracks are English versions and others are Japanese. Of the songs included, there are a few that were made or used in animes, TV shows, or games, including One Last Kiss for Evangelion 3.0, Time, which was used as a theme song for Bishoku Tentai Akeshigiro, and of course the song Face My Fears featuring Skrillex, which is the theme song to Kingdom Hearts 3. On top of these, there are a few other singles that were released, and for my YouTube listeners, I will have the track list up now because these are a lot of Japanese titles. I'm not even going to try. For now, I will circle back to the first tracks I mentioned, in particular Face Your Fears and One Last Kiss, starting with the former. This was originally released as part of an EP last year with remixes of previous tracks. The video clip for One Last Kiss was also filmed by the director of Evangelion, so I thought this was noteworthy, especially as it's not an AMV, but real footage of Utada in and around her hometown in England. And it's rather interesting given its colours of grey, backdrops, cloudy weather and general lack of people. But that might be the vibrant English summer. Yes, that's right. One of the biggest J-pop stars lives in England. Mind blown, get over it. Now, moving on, the next biggest single is Face My Fears, and as I mentioned before, it features Skrillex, which also has Jason Pooh Bear Boyd helping on writing credits. Now, before you throw your head back and groan about that information and Skrillex, keep in mind, his presence isn't overwhelming. In fact, the song is still able to grab those Kingdom Hearts feels with a piano intro and near isolated vocals in parts, but it adds a touch of Skrillex in part, thrown in like a Salt Bae does. Okay, chorus coming up. Add a dash of Skrillex. Verse time, no Skrillex. Anyway, there are both English and Japanese versions of this song on the extended version of the album. There are some interesting songs on this album, and as a whole it does a great job. Noteworthy tracks, besides the previous two, are the opener Bad, which sounds like Utada of Previous. Not in the Mood is an interesting blend of lo-fi beats with Utada singing over the top, but an interesting one for sure is the 11-minute long Somewhere Near Marseille, which reminds me of those extended dance remix songs you would hear on singles. Other tracks like Find Love are just annoying to me and are probably the weakest song on this album. So what's my rating? Overall, I think the album is worth a ranking of 800,000 chilies. It's a solid album with some good tracks, and I'm sure fans of Utada's music will agree it's a good album. To me, the standout tracks are One Last Kiss, Face My Fears, and the second track. If you haven't heard of the musician but know the games and animes I mentioned before, then this might be a good starting point. Sayonara. Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please consider liking it and sharing it with your friends. And also don't forget to subscribe to our Chilli Con Carnage crew to stay updated on our newest videos. We're also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Live Listener Race. Please join us on those media platforms for all kinds of updates and discussions regarding music. And as always, stay spicy. And of course I'm drinking Asahi while recording this.